It has now been 1 year, 365 days since life in the pandemic began. And on this day, March 11, 2020, the World Health Organization officially declared COVID-19 a pandemic. And the NBA shut down games indefinitely. You might recall Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, contracted COVID-19, and that's when we knew things were going to be different. Joining me now to talk about this last year and really kind of the influence of the sports world as well as entertainment world when it comes to COVID-19 is my man Mo Kelly. He is the host of the Mo Kelly Show on KFI, 640 AM. Mo, great always having you on. I appreciate it, brother, taking time with us. Let's talk about that. I'm watching the game, and I remember it was an earlier game because I was still here doing your evening here, and the TV's up there, and all of a sudden chaos is ensuing, and Rudy Gobert tests positive. They stop the game, and then we go back and remember the night before he was coughing all over the microphones of the reporters, talking about COVID being silly, like you guys are panicking, and he wipes his hands all over it, which is why it was a big deal, because the next day he would test positive. So my question to you is, where were you kind of in that moment? Your personal assessment of like, oh, this just got real. And what did it take Tom Hanks, his wife Rita, and Rudy Gobert for America to really say, oh, this is serious?
There was so much going on that day. That was the same day in which Dr. Fauci went before Congress and said that it's going to get worse. That was the same day in which President Trump said that he was limiting travel from Europe. That's the same day that the schools were closed in many places. That was the same day in Seattle and San Francisco where they limited gatherings over a certain size. Our world was changing so quickly on March 11, 2020. And then you add into it the sports leagues with Rudy Gobert and later then Donovan Mitchell. And I think it told everyone in one swift blow that our world was going to change in a way that no one had seen, could foresee, and we didn't necessarily know what was going to happen in the coming weeks. Now, as far as Tom Hanks is concerned, unfortunately, that has been America's history. We really didn't start taking AIDS seriously until Rock Hudson died of it. And we really didn't start taking HIV in the heterosexual community seriously until Magic Johnson acknowledged that he was HIV positive. And so many times we are slow to react until someone we think is outside the reach of something who gets it, then we decide maybe we should take it seriously. And a lot has happened in the past 365 days, to be sure.
That's you bring up some very good points with that, with regard to when we finally pay attention to things. And then I want to talk about, Mo, you know, the idea that the need for things, right? We had a balance of, all right, this is, you know, for our health, for our safety. We should not do this. And the other end, it was, hey, we need to do this. And you saw sports leagues, right? You're talking about the NBA, NFL, so on and so forth, MLB, like forcing seasons. No, we're going to have a season. And it was successful in the NBA with the bubble. But what did you learn from that, where you had even college universities say we're not going to play, and then they ended up playing because they felt the pressure? What did you learn about that and how important maybe sports are for us here in this country?
I learned once again, and I was reminded that cash is king. Yes, there's a need for an emotional continuity, emotional stability, which sports would provide. We saw that after 9/11 with how we resumed football and baseball. But outside of that, sometimes I think, depending on whom you ask, we maybe went too far, too fast, too soon with the reintegration of sports. We can think about what with Duke basketball announcing today that they're going to decline to finish the rest of their season because there was one positive test, a COVID-19 test, and we're not even out of the woods. But we saw college football kind of rush to get back, even though all the data was not in support of that. There is a need for sports, but sometimes I think our sports have taken a level of precedence that it maybe should not have, given that we were in an unprecedented pandemic.
Well, you combine that with, shout out to Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around me. I mean, I think that obviously plays a big role. These leagues are saying we have these TV deals and these networks we owe money to, we owe the services of our leagues to, and that definitely has something to do with it as well. But I know on a local level, high school, there's been a lot of data about the need for mental health with these students to get back out there. So it's a tough balance. But Mo, that's why we have you on to break it all down. Mo Kelly, check him out, the Mo Kelly Show on KFI. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.